welcome to this tutorial where we are going to see how to create articles in Sage Gestion Commerciale i7 version. If you go to structure, you're going to see the famille, article, and if you click on article, you won't have the possibility to create article. Pour saisir les articles, il faut au moins une famille d'articles. What they mean here is that for you to start creating articles, what we are going to call products, you need to have families of those articles or of those products. So you cannot create articles when you have not yet created families. So what are families? Families just represents how you are going to categorize your articles, so you can better manage your inventory. You may manage your inventory in terms of categories of products, the families they belong to. So before you get into creating articles in a business, you must first of all analyze the business and bring up a particular chart that will place or categorize all the articles according to where they come from or according to how you want to manage the business. All depends on you, all depends on how you decide to analyze that particular business. In this case, we're going to take a simple example, just a simple example, to make you understand how I can classify a company's articles and create different families. Here you can see a chart I have made for a particular business, and this business in question deals with the sales of drinks. So it is a depot of beer actually. We are going to be using this very same chart and reproduce it in this particular company, Profess Shopping. So as you can see, there are three levels, or there are three article families, which are totals, centralizers, and the details. The totals represents the whole thing. What is the business all about, or what are those products all about? How are they centralized? What are they based on? Some businesses might be, some enterprises might be so large that it has many totals, same as you can have just one total. Like for example, this case we have just one total. It does not mean that it is always just one. You can divide the type of products you're dealing with into different categories. We have centralizers, which are placed under, as you can see, the total here is drinks, and drinks is a master or is on top of the centralizers which are below the totals. And here this business deals with the sales of drinks, so I took the whole to be drinks. Please, this is just an example of mine. Someone else can take this very same business which deals with the sales of drinks and they have a different chart, a complete different chart. Just like now, I can just decide and make it different. I can decide and say that okay, the total will not be drinks. So I'm just trying to make you understand that it depends on how you reason it out at the moment you start drawing your chart. The centralizers here are talking about the main things in these totals. So here I subdivided it into alcoholic drinks and non-alcoholic drinks. So those are the centralizers. Now under these centralizers we have what we call details. Specifically, what alcoholic drink are you talking about? So I could say that okay, beer, whiskey, which are kind of alcoholic. We have non-alcoholic drinks, which are juice, water. This is simply a way I decided to look at it, same as it could be something completely different from this. Now as you see, the families are made up of three levels: total, centralizers, and details. Now the question is, what falls under these details? As you can see, there are still some sticks that are coming down there. That is where comes the specifications. Okay, so after the totals we now have what we call articles. It means that after we must have created the totals, we can now the families, I mean, after we must have created all the families, we can now have the possibility of creating articles, where articles are going to be placed under those families. But which family in question? Under the details. It means that for you to create an article, you must have at least a family of type detail, because the articles export is already an article. It is no more a family, but it is placed under the family alcoholic drink, beer. Crown Royal, for example, is a whiskey which is alcoholic. It is a drink, but this is a product which is being sold. So you see, these ones down are being directly affected to a detail. It means that without details you cannot create articles, whereby details are actually families. So whatever be the business you're dealing with, you should first of all analyze the way the business is structured. You try and sketch a chart which is going to make you best understand the business before you get back to Sage, where you will go to structure, take family, and create those families. So when you take nouveau or new, here you have the possibility to create those families. Is it a detail? Is it a total? Is it a centralizer? For my case, I will take for example total. When I take total, you see some other boxes down there blur, means I cannot make furnish the informations for those ones. So I'll, for example, put a code. It depends on you. There's no specific kind of code you should put there. So I'm going to call it total drinks. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to say nouveau, new, so that you should save this and create another one. So the next one I'm going to create is a centralizer, for example. So which centralizer was there? There was alcoholic and the non-alcoholic drink. So as centralizer, I'm going to create alcoholic drink. I can give it any code, just to make it. You just need to know that you cannot produce the same code twice. Like if you created a code, you cannot use it anymore. So I'm going to call this one alcoholic drinks, which is a centralizer. Alcoholic drinks, and I'm going to take nouveau. I'm going to create another one. I'm surely going to call it non-alcoholic drinks. It just depends on the you make sure you select here centralizer. So I'm going to call it non-alcoholic, for example. So from here I'm just going to create another one again. As from here, you see I've already created the centralizers. Now I have to create the details under the centralizers. So I'm going to create, for example, beer, whiskey, juice, water as detail. So when I get to this place, I allow here detail, and I want to create, for example, a detail for beer. I'm just going to give it any code. Please, the code must not be letters, okay? It can equally be figures, or it can be alphanumeric. You can put any code. Here I'm just putting anything that is coming on my mind. You can decide and put any code that will help you easily identify the family. So here I want to create a family for beer, for example. Now when I create it, I'll have to select unité de vente, the sales unit, how it's in which unit is being sold. If for example it's beer, we'll surely be talking about crates. And for you to have here crate, you must have created crates at the level of settings. In our previous video, there is a specification on how to create these units of sales and units of purchases. For now, since I didn't create anything like a crate, I'll just select unit, and I make sure I select suivi de stock. Please, if I do not select suivi de stock here, I will have difficulties in managing stock. Suivi de stock simply means the stock management system, how the stock valuation system, I mean. In some other versions of this software, you will see FIFO, LIFO, WAC, and in French here CMUP means WAC. Is the abbreviation for WAC, which is weighted average cost. It means it is going to accumulate all the purchase prices, the purchase prices for all the periods, and they give it as a unit exit price. So that is it. Now you will have to select famille centralisatrice, which is the family this particular detail is placed on. As you can see here, this detail is placed on the centralizer alcoholic drink. That is why in here I'll come here and I will select the centralizer alcoholic drink. You see the centralizers are already in this list because we earlier created them there. So now you have the possibility to select the centralizer. Also very important, when you finish doing this, when you are creating details, you need to go to tariffs. There's basically not much there. You need to go to paramètres, which is settings, and you go to paramètres comptabilité. Now you can see the accounting categories we created in the previous video, where I told you about the sales over the counter. You can sell over the counter, you can sell on transit, you can make purchases over the counter, you can keep your stock, all of these things. This is it, we are going to be using them. Now when you come to paramètres, you take comptabilité, you have to make sure you select where you make your sales, where you make your purchases, where you keep your stock, and attach to it an account number for sales, or an account number for purchases, or an account number for stock, so that when you have a transaction with the articles which are found on this family, they should know exactly which account number to debit or credit when it will go to the accounting file. So we are doing it at the level of families because we will create fewer families but thousands of products. Instead of us attaching it to the products, we will come and attach it to the family, so that when we are creating a product and we attach this family to that product, the settings for this family will go and also attach to that product. You're surely going to understand this better when we will be creating products. So what I'll do is that I'll come at the level of compte général, like the general account number. I'll double click in this cell, and here under compte général, this is for vente, this is domaine de vente, sales domain, and I'll select the general account number for sales of goods, which is surely 701. So I take the drop down list, sales. Okay. If there is any VAT, like VAT invoice you want to attach to it, you can directly attach the account numbers for VAT if at all you deal with VAT. But if you do not deal with that VAT, you just take, okay, you have just attached the account number for sales. You also come here, this one should surely be achat, which is purchases, and you attach the account number for purchase of goods. So you take, okay, same here, warehouse, you surely attach the account number for stock. So here we have marchandise. All right, sorry, my accounting plan is in French. Okay, so I'll take, okay, so here I have attached the account number for purchases, the account number for sales, and the account number for stocking. Therefore means that once I create an article, that article will already have these informations, which will permit us to account for every sales, for every purchase, or for every variation in stock, so that our accounting file can have informations coming from Gestion Commerciale. Very important. So when we get here, we've created the family here, and we take, okay, so that is the same procedure you are going to take to create all of the other details, So I'm just going to create another one again, but the other ones you can be creating them so as we can maximize our time. So I'm going to create another family for example, I've created one for alcoholic drink. I will also create a detail on non-alcoholic drink, for example, juice. So I'll get here, I'll take nouveau, and here is a detail good. I'll call it juice. I can give it any code, it can be alphanumeric. I'm going to call it juice. I'm going to say, like, for example, in palettes, I will not forget to select the WAC method of inventory valuation, and here I select non-alcoholic. Same thing, when I go to settings, I go to comptability, I make sure that here I select the account number 701 for sales of goods. Sorry, I have to select it from the list. Okay, and I also have to select 601 for purchases of goods. Good. And I equally have to select 311 for stock inventory. So I take, okay, so at least we have created two centralizers, we have created two details, we have created one total. Once you have created at least a detail as family, already you can have the possibility to create your article. So if you go to structure, you are going to see the article. Once you click on article, the list of article is obviously going to appear, but as at the moment there is nothing in the list because you have not yet created the articles. So you now have to create these articles, and for you to create the articles, you just need to take nouveau, and here is the interface. It therefore means that if I want to create an article, like which article, export, I'll come here, I'll give a reference. References are very important. It should just be a shortcut of the article, that shortcut which will permit you to get that articles once you'll be making sales or once you'll be making purchases. So it is very important to work on the strategies you are going to use in creating your references, the reference of your articles. So for example, here export, I'm going to give a reference export, and I will specify, because you cannot have the same reference many times. So I'll say export, I think it's centiliters, or no, it is 0.65 liter, something like this. Now I will have to specify the family. After I must have given the description of the article, I have to specify the family of this article. Very important. However, you cannot create an article if you do not select the family under which this article is placed on. So you'll see here export is placed on the family detail beer. So when I get here, I will then select beer. You remember we created just two details, that's why just these two elements are showing up. So I select beer. So don't forget that in search you'll be using the tab key to be moving along the way. So I'm going to take the tab key. When I take the tab key, you can see it has created, and the stock valuation system will be updated automatically. Why? Because we selected beer, which earlier had a setup. So definitely I will go to conditionnement. If there is any conditionnement, you put it there. For now, we are going to have a specific video to talk about conditionnement later. So what you do is that here you select prix d'achat, you write the purchase price of the product, say for example 500. Coefficient is just about making a percentage in the calculation of your sales price. Like some businesses or some products, they might want to determine the sales price with a margin of, for example, 20%. it means that for every product they should have a 20% markup on the purchase. So what does it mean? It means that in the case where the price is not directly determined, like for example 615, and you want the price to appear based on a percentage gain, so you have to put the rate here so that it calculates based on the purchase price and send it here. Like for example, we might take a simple case that, let's say for this product we want to make a 20% profit, no, let's say 25% profit for example. It therefore means that if we want to make a 25% profit, and if it's 500, so what will be the selling price for us to have a 25% profit? Obviously we're going to do 500 francs times 1.25, right? So that it gives us 625. So if you do 500 times 1.25, 500, which is the purchase price, times 1.25. Why 1.25? Because this is 25% plus 100%. The 100%, which is the 500 francs, divided by 100 gives you 1.25 actually. So if you put here 1.25 and you press the tab key, you see the price will be calculated automatically based on the fact that you are making a 25% gain. But if the product does not work in terms of percentage, you just go put the selling price manually. Say for example 650 francs. From here you will see the retailer's price will appear. Let me take the tab key first. The retailer's price will appear and the wholesaler's price will appear. If you want to change the wholesaler's price to be different from the retailer's price, you just need to come and double click on the wholesaler's price, and here you modify his price. Obviously the wholesaler will have a price lower, so we could say something like 610 francs instead of 650 francs for the wholesaler, and you take okay. You see the retailer will be sold at 650 and the wholesaler will be sold for 610 francs. This is how you create a product in Sage Gestion Commerciale. From there you can take Nouveau to save and create another one, or you take okay. Gradually as you are creating the products, they are entering in this list. Concerning the retailer and wholesalers, when we go to structure, we have the possibility of creating customers, client, which is customers. Generally in a business we are always going to have what we call other customers, or clients divers, in French actually. Other customers for those people who will enter in our store or in our enterprise, and we will not possibly need to save their names, their contacts and so on. We sell under that account. However, here is where you create customers. You go to structure, you see a client, you can create your customer, you can take Nouveau here and you go ahead creating the customer. Now when you're creating the customer, sorry, I just opened this box and I want to close it and it does not want to close again. So in this case, what do? I press the escape key. That's just a hint. So if you create a customer, for example, you get there and you want to specify that this customer is a wholesaler or retailer, you go at the level of tariffs. Up here you see tariffs, and by default this customer is a retailer. If you watch the previous video, you will realize that when I was creating category tariff, the pricing categories, I told you that I intentionally started by creating retailer before wholesalers, because the first one you create in that list becomes the default one for every customer you create. That is why when we enter in this customer which was created, he's automatically a retailer. But if you want to make him a wholesaler, you just have to take the drop down list and select that okay, this guy is gonna be a wholesaler. So what's gonna happen with this guy? What will happen with him is that each time you want to sell with this customer's name, the prices that will appear will be the wholesale prices actually. So that is it. I'm going to close this. And we get back to our articles. If I want to modify this article I just created, I just have to double click on it, or I click on it once, then I take over. I'm going to double click on it, and what you can notice is that you can modify the description, but you cannot modify the reference. Now it therefore means that if it is no more, if the reference was not correct, you surely have to delete the article completely and then create another one which will suit the reference. However, you can only modify the description. Now one other thing you should notice is that when you go at the level of parameter of this article you just created, you are going to see under comptabilité the account numbers that has been attached to it. You see here for vente over the counter is 701, for purchase is 601, for warehouses. All this, why this? It is showing this way because we selected a family called beer, and when we created this family beer we already gave these settings. So it's going to be much more easier when you will sell this particular product, or when you purchase this particular product. When you account for it, it already knows which account number to go and debit and which account number to go and credit, depending on the situation. Actually, you will have a list of many products as you are creating. Obviously, a business will have a lot of products. If you have a product that you created and you don't want it to figure out again, or you don't want to sell that product again, or you want to delete it and you cannot delete it again, or it is finished, you don't want to sell it anymore, you don't want to show, to make it be visible in the list of articles, you click on that article and you take un sommeil, and sommeil means sleeping, so that it should not be active, because the list is currently showing active articles. So as you can see, if I click on sommeil and I untick active, there is no product that is on sommeil, there is no product that is sleeping. Are we together? So from here I'll take it back to active. So if this article, I don't want to be using it anymore, or I don't want to be seeing it in my list of articles, when I enter inside, I'll go to, I think it's paramètres, and I will say here mettre en sommeil. Under paramètres, option de traitement here, you take mettre en sommeil. If you take it to be mettre en sommeil, it therefore means that you want to put this as a sleeping article, meaning it should not show up again. That's why in the list of active you will not see it anymore. But if you go and select sommeil, you are going to see all those products that are not active. Therefore, if you want to make it active once more, you go to the list of those who are not active, you double click and you go on select mise en sommeil, you take OK, you go back to actives, and it is going to be present perfectly. That is how you manage articles. Still in this list, you will surely have a good number of articles, like 1000 articles. If you're looking for an article of a product, you can make a search here, or when the articles are much in this list, you start typing the first letters of the product and it is going to appear. So that is how you manage articles. Now you might have your articles, for example, in an Excel file, and you want to take it into search. In this case, you will have to create what we call an import and export format for the importation or also the exportation of your articles in and out of search. It therefore means that if you want to import your articles, you should first of all come to fichier. You will come at the level of format, I think it's at the level of format, import, export, and at this level you have to create a format, meaning this format is an intermediary between search and external applications, which is going to be a text file, which will permit you to import articles out of search into search. So in this case, in this list, you see here ouvrir un fichier paramétrable that asks you to open an existing setup or import export format, but you don't have one, so you go take nouveau, like to create a new one. So when you create a new one, you specify the location, for example, and you give it a name. Now if you intend to import articles, you should first of all import the families of those articles. Very important. You cannot import articles in search when you have not imported the families of those articles. Why? Because those articles are attached to some families. Those families should first of all exist in your company before you even have to import the articles. That is why we are going to start by creating an import export format for families before creating an import export format for articles. So I'm going to create, for example, family, let me say family format, and I will save it here. So when it comes here, I have to come here, select the type de données, the type of data, which I'm going to call it families, and here I have to specify the fields which will appear. So I'll take here ajouter, the first one is code, and I will give it a length that it should actually collect. Already for the codes, it is a little bit complicated. If you see when we created the articles, the family dative, also it's very important to note this. If you intend to import and export stuff from search and so on, you should always make sure that you have a uniform or a unique length you use in creating your different codes, because already here I made a mistake. I created the codes with different length. Here there are 3 characters, here there are 2 characters, here there are 3 characters. It's going to disturb now when we'll be creating, for example, an import export format, because here the level of code they're asking for longer, the length, how many characters should it carry out or should it bring in. So in this case, I will just say, for example, 2 characters, so that I should take just 2 characters in the list. I will take ajouter, and here I'm going to select intitulé, which is the description. 35 characters is okay. What else do I want to import? Suivi de stock, so that I should take the stock valuation system. What else do I want? I will equally want it to carry the compte général, which is the general account numbers which were attached to those families, so that when we are importing, you should also import with all of that. If there is any other thing I want to add, I just have to come select it from this list, like for example unité de vente if possible. So when I'm done selecting the fields or the informations I want to import or export, I take OK, and that is it. So if I go to my desktop in documents, I'm surely going to see it the family format. So I'll also go to format import export. I'll equally create article format, articles format, and from here, oh sorry, I need to take nouveau first, so that I come here, I put the name, and I take save. Same thing, I have to come here, select that I'm dealing with articles, and I have to select the different fields, which is reference, obviously the first thing, the designation, as well as family. All right, you see, when you're importing articles, it is obligatory. Those who are in star, the things, the information that are in star are those who are obligatory. It means that if you're importing articles, those articles will obviously have families. Now, if the families are not existing in the system, it therefore means that you cannot import those articles, because with what information will they be attached to as families? So it's not possible. So that is why if you want to import, you should make sure that the other file from which you are getting the information, you must have also imported the families. So from here I just take OK. It therefore means that if you want to import, you need to also understand that the import format or import export format should be located in the text file. If you want to import the articles, you surely have to come to Finet. I didn't prepare any document for articles. You might see it in another video. You just take import and you take format parametrable. So you come select the intermediary, like for example you start with the family, and from here you have to select the text file where the families of articles are located, so that when you select that text file, you take open, the family of those articles are going to appear in your machine. So I didn't prepare any file for that. I just had to explain it in case you want to make an importation of your products. However, you want to create articles, you start by creating families, you create the articles themselves, and you manage it from here. Basically, that is what we had to see for this video. Have any question, place it in the comment, and get to you in the next video to further our studies in Gestion Commerciale.